Isn't it interesting that just for the last 30 seconds or so, your mind had some kind of activity in how it would want to label me sitting here just looking at how you perceive it, how you're perceiving me or perceiving the camera or perceiving the picture behind me or just perceiving. If we can like try to identify with the silence, like not identifying with the mind and how the mind likes to label it all and get this or get that or grab this or grab that or, you know, make sense of that or, you know, believing this is the truth and this is a lie and this is, you know, this person has it figured out and I don't have it figured out, and the truth of it is that I know the truth, or they seem to know the truth. All of this kind of garbage stuff. The identification with the mind is like a kind of a dead end. Because anything we identify with thoughts that are, I don't know. It's interesting because as you sat there and you put, like just as I turned on the camera, and you observe me just sitting there in silence, my head also comes up with some kind of thoughts. It's really, 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 really interesting to recognize that those thoughts that like come and go are, I think it is one of the most incredible things that I didn't learn in school, is that none of it is real. Or if I want to attach myself to a thought, then it feels good because I can relate to that thought, especially if it's positive, and that there's some kind of salvation in the thought, or some kind of relief or temporary relief of that. And we all know all that. But if we just stop for a second and do not identify with any of the thought patterns, polarized thoughts, positive or negative, any of those kind of things, what are we? Predominantly, the thoughts, I believe, as I observe them, are in the past. And from the past, thoughts about the past are thoughts about the future. When we recognize it, it's so cool because I believe like I can just sit here, or in my present experience, or present during your day, or presently, when you recognize that you can have a choice to not identify with any of those thoughts. And there's an opportunity right there in the present, right there, there's a gap between the thought and relating to the thought. That tells me we're not even our minds, because that little gap is who I am. And I like more or less to relate to that gap that's between the thought and the action. And sometimes, predominantly, I don't relate to it anymore because it's like a muscle. I train it. And I recognize, but if I catch myself in that moment that I follow the thought, especially if it's negative in the sense, what a really, really productive and also positive, because if it'll relate to the negative thought, it can accumulate. But I recognize that in that gap between that thought and the action I could take, whatever the action would be, to bring in another thought, or to make an action, to run, or fight, or defend, or, any of that action from the thought. There's a gap, and that gap is who we are. Like, it's so cool. I live mostly in that area, that like gap and I observe, and there's so much gratitude because I observe, observe things, observe life, I observe the sun, I observe the sky, I observe others, I observe the beauty that is around us, I observe the hearts, I observe all of this behind the walls, or the thoughts which are creating circumstance. And I can do that. That's what's really, really cool. And then I feel good because it's authentic. It's like authentic. And then the thoughts that you've had prior to before they were hijacked, and before there's the gap, and then there's the thought, and you realize that you forget what that was. Just try to think about just a few days ago. Just try to think about, what was I thinking at that time? Why was I so overwhelmed by that? And if you know that things are impermanent, and you know it's going to pass, why make it even worse with your head? Why make it even, the energy that you have, if it's low energy, whatever it feels, sad, or, or like, I don't know, you're so overwhelmed by your stress, or your anger, or your, natural thing, that the body is responding to something, all of that stuff like that. And if you let go of it, it's like you don't add on to that, what is already there. And like I said, I wish I would learn this in school, but I guess all of it's good, because I wouldn't want it to have it any other way. So the wishing is, forget about the wishing. It is what it is, because the contrast I need, and the journey that I'm on, it never seems to stop, because I realize more and more and more and more and more and more. And what is freedom? And freedom from the thoughts. Freedom, just freedom to, freedom. Freedom is that gap. Freedom is the gap, so you don't choose to follow. And I honestly believe also the positive thoughts, because they feel really, really good. What feels really even better is the gap between the thoughts. That feels really, really blissful, because it doesn't have to negotiate anything. It just feels really positive. It's just love. It's pure love. Thoughts label everything. Thoughts are labeling everything. Thoughts are labeling it all. They just label. God. Nothing wrong with any of them. Nothing wrong with any of those thoughts at all. You either give them power or you don't. You're no longer a victim. You are the gap. So you're no longer the victim of any of those circumstances that your mind wants to take you down and make you feel. You must respond. I must stand up for myself. I need to defend myself. I need to bring them down. I need for me to put other people down, because I feel. Because from that space, mostly, people are reacting from the lower, stressed, tired, angry space that we all naturally have during the day. And we respond automatically to that. So we try to put other things down to make ourselves feel better. And it's so subconscious. It's not even conscious. It's so subconscious. And then all of a sudden, you feel better. But it's also temporary. You feel better by putting other people down. You feel better by belittling other people, by judging people, by telling people, no, or it's happening in your head. That's good, that's bad, I prefer this. Oh, that she dances horribly. Oh, that's beautiful. What a perspective. Your unique perspective. All of that play is gonna happen. But it's not you. None of it's you. You're the gap. You're the gap. And I think that's a little love nugget right there. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching if you watched. I love you so much.